Good morning and welcome to Point Clare Cemetery. On behalf of Stephen and Karen, Michael and Bronwyn, Mark and Amanda, Simon and Michelle and all family members and loved ones, thank each and every one of you for being here, showing your support and ongoing love at this time of sadness and also this time of celebration. My name is Maureen and I'm honoured to be your celebrant. We gather here today in a bond of warmth, gentle rain and love to pay tribute, to honour as we pay our respects of a life very much loved, someone who is selfless, caring, respectful, quiet, empathetic, compassionate, resilient, determined, strong-willed, brave, loyal, kind-hearted, a hard-working lady with a heart of gold who has now been sadly and very suddenly lost to us. And of course I speak of Patricia Therese Pemble, warmly known as Mum, Old Man, Nan, Terry, Ter, Sis, Ma and Auntie Terry, depending on where she sits in your heart. It was only 9 weeks ago we said goodbye to Patty, the love of Terry's life, and we gather again here today to honour and remember the life of Terry, who made a special difference to all of our lives. I now share the legacy that Terry lovingly gifted us. Her 4 sons, Stephen, Michael, Mark and Simon, her grandchildren, Nathan, Luke, Healy, Elise, Tegan, Olivia, Georgia, Jared, Samara, Brody, Mitchell, Archie, Noah and Jemima, and great-grandchildren, Eli, Lily, Fletcher, Finley and Paisley. I now share Terry's life story, gathered from her sons and family members, and with Terry's sons' permission, I will begin. Patricia Therese was born in Willoughby, Sydney, on the 3rd of October 1943 to proud parents Charles William and Gladys Mary Sawyer. Terry has an older brother John. He's with us here today. Terry, being the baby of the family, made the family complete. The name Terry came from her brother John. He had a best mate called Terry, and upon finding out that Nan and Pop were expecting another baby, he was insistent it would be called Terry, whether it was a boy or a girl. Patricia Therese was a compromise. However, Terry stuck from the day she was born. John recalls a happy and healthy childhood in Willoughby, particularly the freedom and safety of playing in the neighbourhood streets and after school and on weekends. Mum went to primary school at St Thomas Convent, Willoughby, and high school at Mount Street High, North Sydney. After completing her schooling, Terry started a secretarial course at the Department of Technical Education in Broadway, Sydney. The head teacher of the course commented that Terry was a sensible and reliable girl, interested in her work and most reliable. She displays more than average initiative and is prefect of her group. Mum started her first and only full-time job 4 days later, on the 19th of October 1959, for the Department of Main Roads in Milsons Point as a typist, grade 1. In her mid to late teens, Mum enjoyed a full social and active life, especially as a member of the Willoughby CYO, which is the Catholic Youth Organisation. And it was here that she met the boy's father, Maxwell Thomas Hull, when she was only 16. Mum only ever wanted to do the right thing by her parents. They married in January 1965 and they moved to the Central Coast and purchased the family home in 1968 at 19 Welcome Street, Woy Woy, and went on to have 4 healthy sons. Mum was a stay-at-home mum for 21 years of her marriage to John. Unfortunately, their marriage ended and Terry took on paid positions to make ends meet. She was a cleaner for Home Help of New South Wales and later a residential aged carer in the Woy Woy nursing home, where she was known for her kind heart. Always an honest woman of principle who had a very good work ethic. Terry's sense of duty and compassion continued throughout her life when she volunteered at Meals on Wheels and also for many aged care facilities. She did this with her big, caring heart. Sadly, Terry's mum Gladys became unwell, and for the last 10 years of her life, she struggled with dementia and declining health. Both Terry and Paddy looked after Gladys tenderly. Paddy had a loving relationship with his mother-in-law. The care Gladys received was outstanding and above and beyond. Terry forever put the needs of others before her own, even to her own health detriment. Terry rose to all challenges that were presented to her during her life. She was never afraid of hard work or getting her hands dirty. She found inner strength that had been handed down from her mother Gladys and also her great faith. Religion, Catholicism, played a big part in all areas of Terry's life. She had a strong devotion and unyielding faith. Terry always kept the rosary beads that 2 of her boys made for their first communion in her handbag, along with rosary beads that belonged to her mother. And Gladys's rosary beads are with Terry today. Family was of utmost importance to Terry. She knew love, kindness, routine and discipline made good people. Terry and Mum breathed life and love into her family. She raised her 4 sons as best she could as a single mum. Now at times the boys could be quite mischievous and Terry had to discipline them with the good old-fashioned wooden spoon and the leather strap. She also used to wash their mouth out with salvo. Remember, where's the soap, Jeffrey? Even though this may seem harsh, Terry was very proud of her 4 sons. And I have to say, Terry did a good job of rearing her boys, as all her sons have grown up to be fine gentlemen, self-sufficient and all-round good guys. As young lads, they had their tasks and jobs to do around their home, and the home was neat and tidy and filled with a sense of belonging and warmth. When Terry became a nan, and an old nan, it was a highlight and a great joy in her life. She had a different relationship with each grandchild and she loved them all unconditionally. Nan always kept tabs on them. She was a great communicator, and I now share on behalf of the grandchildren how they felt about their Nan. Nan never forgot birthdays, either a card or a call. These calls were less of a distraction from the shiny new toys the kids were enjoying, and as we aged, the realisation hit that it was actually the calls that were important and less so the gifts. Nan will always be remembered as someone who helped us understand how to care for people who could no longer care for themselves. The monthly phone calls, just gas-bagging about life and love, we will miss those calls from Nan. Nan's handwritten recipes in her exercise book that have been on rotation over the years. Curried sausages and apple, pikelets and the chopped chip cookies, just to name a few of the all-time faves. These recipes were always made and consumed with love and will live on down through the generations now. The joy Nan expressed in seeing and being present with the great-grandchildren, even though they were interstate or overseas. Nan requested and loved looking at all the endless pictures, the videos of the day-to-day happenings via messenger. The manners, behaviours and values that she instilled in her 4 sons has been passed down to the grandies. Eating with your mouth closed and not wasting food. Always a please and thank you and make your bed properly. Work hard for your family. Take pride and care in what you have earned. Then and only then would you get a lolly from the lolly trolley and a can of fizzy from the back of the fridge. In summation, words to sum up our beautiful Nan. family and love first, gratitude, hospitality, hard work, empathy and manners. They all came from our Nan. And finally, every visit started with a special call out, and of course Mum and Nan always finished with a sign off of God bless. And that was from the grandchildren. So Terry's life moved on, and a stroke of Irish luck would have happened when Terry met a delightful, quite shy man by chance called Patrick. They met at a sole and single parent club. Terry and Paddy fell in love. They were a wonderful team and became best of friends and were married for 33 loving years. Paddy cared for Terry and her 4 sons like his own. The boys were happy for their beautiful mum to have found such a lovely gentleman that they both adored each other. Friendships were also very important to Terry, for she knew that to have good friends, well then you needed to be a good loyal friend yourself. For friendship is a priceless gift, and she lived by those words and formed many lifelong and enduring loving friendships in her lifetime, which she appreciated immensely, and Terry loved all of her dearest friends. Now, apart from Terry's love for Paddy, her family and friends, I now share other joys and simple pleasures in Terry's life. Travelling. Terry and Paddy travelled together on the Ghan and the Indian Pacific. Paddy loved trains. They also had a caravan and a camper trailer and happily travelled extensively around Australia. They found great fellowship groups along the way. Terry barracked wholeheartedly for the North Sydney Bears and would be very happy that her favourite team is rejoining the NRL in the next few years. Terry didn't mind a flutter on the races or the GGs. She would always bet on any horse ridden by Damien Oliver, who was Terry's favourite jockey. Terry didn't love cooking, though her sons and grandies never starved. Paddy was Terry's personal chef and baker, and Terry loved and adored someone else cooking for her. Terry did try to keep herself fit. As a young lass, she played tennis and netball, and the boys remember Mark doing aerobics with their mum in the front room, with Mark wearing Jane Fonda tights and a headband. The boys also recall pampering their mum. One would be brushing her hair, and another would be rubbing her feet with Curly Pear, a menthol rub to ease all aches and pains. Now, weren't they good boys? And all the while, Terry would be puffing on an Alpine Light. Gosh, those were the days. I'm very pleased to say that Terry's grandchildren would also comb Nan's hair and do her nails. She absolutely loved that. Terry did like to relax. She liked to watch some telly. Number 96, bit raunchy in those days, and a country practice. And she always looked forward to watching the Australian Open at the beginning of every year. When ill health came her way, Terry was mindful that she didn't want to be a burden to her family. Terry was honest as the day was long and spoke some hard truths. However, her big heart was always in the right place. Terry, you were a remarkable woman of your time. Your beauty, your ladylike manners and strength of steel shone through. You always conducted yourself with grace and dignity. We honour you today. We respect all that you have done, and we all understand you did your very best with the lot you were given. You are the family matriarch. You are a role model and a wonderful mentor. So let us remember Terry here today as we fill our hearts with love and gratitude for knowing this quiet, humble and very brave lady. Terry believed her life was defined by the people she loved and cared for. And to put it very simply, Terry lived for those she loved. So we say to you, Terry, Mum and Nan, please know you are missed, you are loved, and you will always forever be remembered. Now, as I mentioned before, Terry and Paddy have been married for 33 years. They had a content, full life of friendship, loyalty, compatibility, and devotion. And this small verse I now share. And I did this at Paddy's service, and it simply spells out the word love, and it is in honour of Terry and Paddy's union and marriage. L. L is for laughter, Terry and Paddy had along the way. O. O is for optimism they gave each other every day. V. V is for value, for being each other's best friend. And E. E is for eternity, for their love is enduring and shall never have an end. So that's for Terry and Paddy. So I'm sure Terry would be proud of all the wonderful memories we have recalled and spoken in her honour. And we now have the opportunity to quietly listen to Here I Am, Lord by John Michael Talbot in remembrance of Terry.
I, the Lord of sea and sky, I have heard my people cry, all who dwell in dark and sin, my hand will save. I who made the stars of night, I will make their darkness bright. Who will bear my light to them? Whom shall I send? Here I am, Lord. Is it I, Lord? I have heard you calling in the night. I will go, Lord, if you lead me. I will hold your people in my heart.
And I now share a poem that Terry's sons have chosen for their mum, and it's entitled Remember Me. And you may wish to close your eyes and just imagine that Terry, old Nan, and Mum is speaking to you. Dear friends, I go, but do not weep. I have lived my life so full and deep. Throughout my life I gave my best. I earned my keep. I earned my rest. I never tried to be great or grand. I tried to be a helping hand. If I helped in a team, if I helped on my own, it was more than repaid by good family and friends I have known. And if I went the extra mile, I did it with pleasure. It was all worthwhile. If I brightened your path, then let it be a small contribution from my loved ones and me. Now sadly I leave you and travel alone through a mystic veil to the great unknown, with such beautiful memories that will forever be the way that I hope you will remember me. On behalf of all of Terry's sons and all Terry's family, they would like to take this opportunity and thank everyone for taking time out of your busy day, sharing in this celebration of Terry and Nan's life. Terry's sons would like to personally thank all the doctors and nurses who tended so lovingly towards their mum over the many years, and recently to all the wonderful nurses and staff on Ward K8 from Gosford Hospital. Thank you for your compassion and kindness. Please know that everyone was so very special to Terry. For all of you added to the quality, to the joy and to the happiness of Terry's life in your own individual and very special way. Now, we all understand it's difficult to talk about all the aspects of Terry's life in this short amount of time here today, and the family know and appreciate this. So they would like to invite everyone to join them back at Michael's family home at the conclusion of the service, and that's 27 Victory Parade, Tascott. The address is on the back of your booklet, and this can be your opportunity to share your memories and your stories about Terry in a more relaxed atmosphere. Whilst many of us rarely pray, at a time like this there is comfort and warmth to be gained by sharing in the Lord's Prayer. This was Terry's favourite prayer. For those of you who would like to do so, please join along with me. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. It is now time for us to say farewell, thank you, and goodbye to Terry. We thank you, Terry, for always doing your best. Thank you for raising your sons so well. Thank you for being perfectly and imperfectly you. Thank you for being present in all of the grandchildren's and the great-grandchildren's lives. We thank you for always being there in your quiet and understated way. Thank you for all that you gave, and thank you for all that you were. Your many good deeds never went unnoticed and will always live on. And please know that your love has certainly made all of us much better people, and for all of that, we sincerely thank you. Now, family and loved ones, only if you're able, I kindly invite you to all be upstanding. Tenderly and reverently, we now offer Terry's earthly body to be gently and lovingly returned to Mother Earth. We set Terry's gentle spirit free. Terry is now freed from the challenges of earthly living. All her tasks and duties are now complete here on earth. So leave us now very peacefully with ease and grace. There is no need to worry or be anxious. All is well. We have made peace with your passing, and we all wish you love and happiness. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust, we honour your cycle of life. Leave now and rest in gentle peace. I invite Brian and staff to please come forward and prepare Terry for her onward journey and to be reunited with Paddy. We now invite Family First to come forward and sprinkle your rose petals and take your time to say your gentle and personal goodbyes to Mum, Terry, Old Nan and Nan.
So ladies and gentlemen, if you can come this way and out through the top there, please.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed. Through many dangers, toils and snares, I have already come. 'Tis grace has brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home. The Lord has promised good to me. His word my hope secures. He will my shield and portion be, as long as life endures. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we've no less days to sing God's praise than when we'd first begun.
Thank you, family and loved ones. We gave Patricia Therese Pemble a wonderful and very memorable farewell. So this concludes our service for Terry, our beautiful lady, who is much loved and who will be greatly missed. You know, there are many things we leave behind us when we go from this world, and there's only one thing that matters, and that is the imprint of love we have left on those around us. And I know certainly that Terry has done that in her lifetime. So may all of us go in grace and peace. And we sign off with Terry's farewell saying, God bless.